Hare Krishna, very dear devotees, welcome back once again to our ever ongoing series on the glories of our most beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pushtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatane. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. So once again, I'm addressing you from Rishikesh in India, on the banks of the sacred Mother Ganges. Our festival's going really well. For the last 2.5 weeks, we've had an average of about 500 people every night coming for kirtan and katha and prasadam. Very satisfying to the heart. We've got 5 more days. So we are continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, based again on chapter 26 of Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion. And today we will discuss what role swans play in this regard in Krishna's Vrindavan Leelas. This will be part 17. As we've mentioned several times in this series, the birds of Vrindavan are not ordinary living entities. In fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:21-14, we hear one gopi speaking to another. It's interesting, she addresses her fellow gopi as mother. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in his commentaries that the gopis would sometimes address each other as Amba, or mother. So this is a very beautiful verse. O mother, in this forest all the birds have risen onto the beautiful branches of the trees to see Krishna. With closed eyes, they are simply listening in silence to the sweet vibrations of his flute, and they are not attracted by any other sound. Surely these birds are on the same level as great sages. Surely these birds are on the same level as great sages. Now later in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:35-11, Sukadeva Goswami mentions that birds other than those sitting in trees, which we heard about, like waterfowl, also experience the ecstasy of Krishna's flute. He says, all the cranes and swans in the water are being enchanted by the melodious song of Krishna's flute. They have approached and are worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full attention. Alas, they are closing their eyes and are becoming completely silent. Wow. So, not ordinary birds. So it appears that, like other birds, swans are very prominent in Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. In one of his songs, our great hero, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, describes Vrindavan as full of regal swans. He writes very famously, Vrindavana Ramya Stana Divya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Manohara Avrita Kalindi Nire Raja Hamsa Keli Kore Tahe Shobe Kanaka Kamala. Devotees like to sing this bhajan actually. Beautiful Vrindavan is filled with Chintamani gems and jeweled palaces and temples. Regal swans play in the waters of the Jamuna, and in those waters a splendid golden lotus flower grows. Thank you, Srila Narottam Das Thakur. I was reading that the swans which swim in the beautiful waters of Vrindavan feed off the stems of lotus flowers and emit a very melodious warbling sound. Their graceful movements excel that of other waterfowl, and when diving in the water, they enjoy playing amongst the lotus stems that resemble their slender necks. Now, many devotees know the famous king, King Kulashekar, used this playful nature of swans as an analogy in one of his poems, when he spoke of the moment that one leaves one's body. He wrote, O Krishna, at this moment, let the royal swan of my mind enter the tangled stems of the lotus of your feet. Otherwise, how will it be possible for me to remember you at the time of death, when my throat will be choked up with mucus, bile, and air? Srila Prabhupada was actually very fond of this verse. He quoted it often and even sang it during his daily activities, or I heard from his secretaries when he was alone in his room. Yeah. Now, in my research, I discovered that the swans, everyone loves swans, the swans of Vrindavan are generally white, although some are black. In addition, there are what is called Rajahamsa swans. Hamsa means swan in Sanskrit, so Rajahamsa, the king of swans. There's Rajahamsas. And they're very special due to their larger size and unique ability to separate milk from water. In other words, if you pour milk into the water of the lake, they have the ability just to drink the water, to drink the milk without taking the water. I read that when the swans of Vrindavan hear the tinkling of Krishna's ankle bells, they become ashamed of their own sweet voices, and lowering their necks, they glide to Govinda and admit defeat. That's how one poet puts it. They glide to Govinda and admit defeat. In this regard, Krishna actually has a pet swan. It's named Kalasvana. Kalasvana, that's Krishna's swan. And Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, she also has a pet swan called Tundikeri. Tundikeri. Actually, Sri Radha is often surrounded by beautiful swans. And I read that once when looking for a sign of her daughter-in-law, Sri Radha, Jatila, followed the movements of swans, knowing that they were attracted to the sound of Radhika's ankle bells. That's one way she kept her eye on Srimati Radharani. Now, so Vrindavan swans are all great souls who relish their service to Radha and Krishna in Braj. The residents of Vrindavan in Krishna's pastimes are sometimes called Daivi Jivas, meaning divine souls. Therefore, Vrindavan's attractive, you could say, to the most elevated persons in creation who know about Vrindavan, especially the demigods, and especially beginning with Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is known as Vishvato Mukha, which means he who can look at everything in the universe. I think that's a good translation. He who can look at everything in the universe. Because he has 4 heads and 8 eyes. Because of that, he is, you could say, a 360-degree view of everything in the universe. He has 4 hands. In one hand he holds beads, which represent constant remembrance of Lord Govinda. In another hand he holds a padma, a lotus, which represents peace, shanti. In another hand he holds a pot and a spoon, which represents that he is the master of yajna. And finally, in his 4th hand, he holds the Vedas, which represent divine knowledge, which we are discussing now. By his grace, he's the head of our parampara. Also, Lord Brahma, as we discussed a few weeks ago, he sits on the lotus flower and he rides on a swan. All the demigods have certain, you could say, animals and birds that they ride on. So he rides on a swan, Lord Brahma. Now, there's a well-known pastime in Vrindavan amongst the Brajabasis, past and present. It is Akhyana. Akhyana meaning it's a story or a pastime passed down from guru to disciple through the eons of time. It's also known as Apta Vachana. Apta Vachana means the authoritative words from a guru who is knowledgeable to his disciple. So this pastime is similar to the Brahma Vimohana Leela in Srimad Bhagavatam, which we're all familiar with, wherein Lord Brahma steals all of Krishna's cowherd friends and cows, remember, for 1 year, to test if Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna displays the same Leela in different kalpas. The pastimes are repeated as time goes on in different kalpas. As such, there's often slightly different variations to Krishna's pastimes. So in this variation, Lord Brahma kidnapped every single cowherd boy, cow, calf, and monkey. In this variation, he not only steals the boys and the cows, he steals the calves and the monkeys and many of the animals in Vrindavan. But when he realized this mistake, as we read in Bhagavatam, he flew from Brahmaloka on his white swan to apologize to Krishna and returned all the cowherd boys, cows, calves, monkeys, and other animals that he took with him. Then he asked Krishna, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize who you were. My dear Lord, what gift can I give you? So in this version, Krishna smiled and said, my dear Brahma, you have all the intelligence in this world. You know exactly what to offer me. So Brahma said humbly, my Lord, O King of Gokul, then please accept my family of swans. Apparently he rides on a swan and he has a family of swans. He said to Krishna, they always swim in the milk ocean. Shira Shagara means the milk ocean. And separate milk and butter from that ocean where your expansion of Lord Vishnu sleeps. This is pure nectar. He goes on, swans represent the knowledge of separating intelligence from the ocean of dark ignorance. Separating intelligence from the ocean of dark ignorance. My Lord, please accept these swans for swimming in the many waters of your divine abode of Sri Vrindavan. So now we know where the swans came from. So then Lord Brahma placed these swans in all the various bodies of water in Braj, including the sacred Jamuna river. Now these swans are appreciated for the fact that they constantly chant hymns of divine knowledge, and it's described, they bring pleasure to one's eyes by their beautiful forms. I remember one time in New Mayapur in France, Prabhupada said that a nice view from the window is a body of water or a cow. If you see a cow, he said, your mind becomes peaceful. So our acharyas say that by drinking the sweet nectarian waters in Vrindavan, these swans remain completely absorbed in the sweetness of Vrindavan. They're drinking the sweet nectarian waters in Vrindavan, so they always remain absorbed in the sweetness of Braj. Further, it's described, these swans, their feathers are considered wish-fulfilling feathers. That really got me. Their feathers are considered wish-fulfilling feathers. We have wish-fulfilling trees. Now we have wish-fulfilling feathers, which are self-effulgent and shine like stars. In your mind's eye, just picture these Vrindavan swans. They have wish-fulfilling feathers, which are self-effulgent and shine like stars. All glories to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Wish-fulfilling feathers. And in this regard, I read that once Mother Yashoda came out from her palace at Nandagram in great anxiety that her son Krishna might be meeting some danger while herding cows with his friends in the Vrindavan forest. She's always worried like that. When suddenly she saw the feather of a swan lying on the ground. Picking it up, she held it close to her heart and she prayed, O divine swans of the spiritual abode, please fulfill my desire that when my son goes to the forest to herd cows, he will be protected from all evil eyes and sinful demons like Kamsa. She prayed to that wish-fulfilling feather of the swan. Pure nectar. An interesting note is that whenever Krishna goes to swim in the Jamuna, those swans cheer him up with their sweet sounds. It's the note there. They cheer him up. He goes to swim, the swans. They cheer him up with the sweet sounds, their sweet sounds. I read the other night that, in this regard, Krishna is the fastest swimmer in all of Vrindavan. Yep, he's the fastest swimmer in all of Vrindavan. It's said that he swims even faster than a fish. Now, there's another nice pastime of Radha and Krishna, which includes these beautiful swans, Hamsas, swans. It's described by a famous Krishna devotee, Mirabai, in her poem, what is it? Vamsi Chori Leela. Vamsi Chori Leela. The translation is the pastime of a stolen flute. Now, we may quote Mirabai. I checked on this because Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam 2:315 purport, quote, "The celebrated Mirabai was a staunch devotee of Krishna as the great lifter of Govardhan Hill. And on a morning walk with the poet Allen Ginsberg on May 13th, 1960, I think it was 69, Srila Prabhupada said, Mirabai's life is also very excellent. Her father gave her a small Krishna doll to play with, and she developed love for Krishna as her husband." Prabhupada's words. So in Vamsi Chori Leela, Mirabai writes, it's very beautiful, that one time, she actually sings, one time Sri Radha was sitting with Krishna in a boat on the Jamuna River. When, in a playful mood, she stole Krishna's flute from his hand and placed it in a belt that was around her waist. Now Krishna was stunned, Krishna without his flute. So he said to Sri Radha, "My blessed Radha, you are very dear to me, and I always try to please you with the sweet melodies of my flute. Without this flute, I'm unable to please you. So please, return my flute to me." So Radha's teasing Krishna. She smiled and she said, "Dear one, what price will you pay for me to return this flute?" So Krishna replied, "Dear Radha, I have precious jewelry and fine necklaces, all made from pearls. You please accept them and return my flute." And at that point, Krishna began giving all those beautiful and expensive pearls, one by one, to Sri Radha. At the same time, swans were swimming around the boat. So Mirabai writes that these particular swans, had become a dark color by drinking the dark-colored water of the Jamuna. She says their dark color was also the result of always staring at the beauty of dark Krishna. These were, I mentioned earlier, there's mainly white swans in Vrindavan, but there's some dark ones. How did they become dark? By always staring at the beauty of dark Krishna and drinking the dark waters of Yamuna Devi, the river. So seeing these swans, Sri Radha called out to them to come closer to the boat. And as soon as they arrived, she started feeding them the white pearls that Krishna was giving to her. She was feeding the pearls to the swans. And as the swans began eating those precious pearls, their color changed from black to white. It's described a white as effulgent as the pearls themselves. And as soon as their color changed, this is very esoteric, as soon as their color changed, they absorbed the vibration of Krishna's heart, because the pearls were from a necklace which hung on Krishna's chest, close to his heart. I'll recite that again. As soon as their color changed, they absorbed the vibration of Krishna's heart because the pearls were from a necklace which hung on Krishna's chest, close to his heart. As a result, Mirabai writes, or she sings, they understood Krishna's heart's desire to get his flute back. So now all these beautiful white swans, circling around the boat, where Sri Radha was seated in the middle next to Krishna, they started singing in high notes, begging her to give Krishna his flute back. So taking this cue, Krishna, now Krishna's going to speak, he says to Sri Radha, Radharani, please give me my flute, the flute that I long for. I cannot be separated from it. I cannot bear this pain any longer. My dear Radha, please listen to me. I cannot play the flute without you. I cannot sing without your love. You are the reason for my existence. I wander in the forest searching for you. I always call out your name, but you don't answer. My heart is filled with your love, but without you, it is empty and barren. Sri Radha, please come to me. Fill my life with your love and grace. I cannot live without you. My beloved, my heart's only solace. You, my beloved, my heart's only solace. Please forgive my mistakes and accept my love, O Radha. I'm nothing without you. My life, my soul, my everything, my Radha. Please give me back my flute. Now, despite hearing Krishna's plea, Sri Radha was still not inclined to give Krishna back his flute. And turning to the swans, all these beautiful white swans, she said, my dear swans, you just tell your master, I will not give him back his flute. It's better if he sings with his throat, claps with his hands, and calls his cows, not with his flute, but with his mouth. But the swans, they replied, please, dearest Queen of Vrindavan, Shrimati Radharani, just see, Krishna is now begging at your lotus feet. Please be merciful to him. So those words from her swans, they melted Radha's heart. And she turned to Krishna, took the flute, and gave it to him. And Krishna immediately began playing the flute for her pleasure. Such is the power, I was thinking, such is the power of sincere appeals to Radha and Krishna. We're also making appeals like the swans did. Every day we're appealing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear Lord, my dear energy of the Lord, Sri Radha, please engage me in your devotional service. Or like I sometimes like to quote Rupa Goswami and Padyavali, my dear Lord, I'm drowning in this fathomless whirlpool of material existence. Oh, you who give shelter to the shelterless, please, just this one time, won't you extend your hand to save me? We say that it's the Hare Krishna mantra, but it's more like a prayer, I think, an appeal. Like Prabhupada says, a baby crying for its mother. Yes, it's a mantra, but like Bandhanam, it seems like more like a prayer, an appeal to Krishna with intensity. Like Prabhupada said, one disciple asked Prabhupada one time, again, can you give us the meaning of the Maha Mantra? And at that time, Prabhupada said, what is the meaning of the Hare Krishna mantra? It means, my friend, my friend, my friend. So we can remember this pastime where the swans are appealing to Radha and Krishna is appealing to Radha. In that mood, slowly in our lives we can develop that mood of genuine desperation for Krishna's mercy. Appealing. Just like in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Shri Nikunja Keli Viru Devali, one of my favorite books, verse 67. He writes, in the same mood, O all auspicious Krishna, may you be victorious. You perform all kinds of sweet pastimes. Let my name also be there when you count Radha's associates. This is my prayer. Although I am covered by material consciousness, I can still aspire for this. O Lord, let my prayer be fulfilled. I just want to recite that again with your permission. O all auspicious Krishna, may you be victorious. You perform all kinds of sweet pastimes. Let my name also be there when you count Shri Radha's associates. This is my prayer. Although I am covered by material consciousness, I can still aspire for this. O Lord, let my prayer be fulfilled. Thank you, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, we have to go on Harinam now and give out invitations to tonight's program. Thousands and thousands of Westerners here. And many of them are so grateful that we've come. Many have said to me in the evening after the kirtans, this is what I came to Rishikesh for. I found what I came to Rishikesh looking for. I didn't know what I was looking for. But thank you so much, all of you Krishna devotees, for putting on this event, which concludes each night with a free 12-course vegetarian feast. Just pure nectar. So I'd like to finish today with one of my favorite prayers, in which the author, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, also uses an analogy of swans. It's from, of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 2:2. O my most merciful Lord Chaitanya, may the nectarian Ganges waters of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue. Beautifying these waters are the lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and the loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks, and bees. The river flowing produces a melodious sound which gladdens their ears. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Well, I think we got a couple more classes on the birds of Vrindavan, so we'll be back next Friday. All glories to Prabhupada, the revealer of the Dham. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavan Ishwari, Shrimati Radharani ki, the beautiful swans of Vrindavan ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yajna ki. Take all the fallen conditioned souls back to the spiritual world with us ki. Gaur Premanandi, Jai Jai Sisi Radhe Shyam. Thank you, thank you.